The arena lights ignited with a cold, metallic blue that washed over the assembled crowd of alien cadets. 200 pairs of eyes, slitted, faceted, compound, bioluminescent, locked onto the lone human standing on the polished obsidian floor. To them she wasn't a student. She wasn't even a peer. She was a curiosity wrapped in danger and wrapped again in doubt. Aria Holt stood with her hands behind her back, posture calm, chin lifted just slightly toward the observation deck. The slightest breath left her lips, steady and measured. The silence that followed was suffocating. Captain Seryx Valor broke it with a mocking smirk. His tall frame leaned over the rail, chitin catching the light in sharp violet angles. "Human," he declared, his tone carrying smug amusement, "let's see how long your fragile species survives a real test." Whispers rippled through the crowd. "Is she insane? She's too calm." Deathworlders mask their panic. No, Deathworlders are panic. Aria didn't look up at them or flinch at the captain's provocation. She watched the floor shift beneath her boots as the simulation field charged. Holographic vines shimmered, rising into existence. A jungle canopy formed overhead, rendering the arena into a dense simulation of a Class 4 predatory world. A signal chimed. The trial began. But only moments earlier, her day had started with a different kind of hostility. The doors to Vornix Academy's Grand Hall had parted at dawn, letting in rows of cadets ready for orientation. Their armor gleamed. Their gait carried pride earned through generations of dominance across the Orion Arm. When Aria stepped inside, small, unarmored, and undeniably human, the hall's hum faltered. Some recoiled. Others glared. A few leaned close to their companions, mandibles twitching, or tendrils coiling in visible distrust. A sharp voice addressed her before she reached the central platform. "You're the representative from Earth." She turned to find Captain Seryx towering over her, violet crest flaring. His authority radiated through every confident stride. "Yes," she replied calmly. "You look underwhelming." His claws tapped against his belt. "Your species begged for entry, and this is the best you could produce?" Aria met his stare without hostility. "I'm here to learn, Captain." Her unbothered tone struck him harder than any insult could. Zevrak's elites thrived on dominance displays, calm defiance unsettled them deeply. "You'll do more than learn," he said. "You'll prove your place. Or lack of it." Before she could respond, the orientation began. A towering holoprojector illuminated the Academy's crest, a star encircled by 2 orbiting rings. Instructor Valor stepped forward, her long limbs extending with elegant precision. "Cadets," she announced, "this cycle introduces a new species. Humanity. Classified as a Tier 3 adaptive civilization from a high-threat origin world. Their biology is unusual. Their resilience unpredictable." Several cadets hissed at the word unpredictable. Aria remained still, listening, absorbing every detail. She expected suspicion. She did not expect Seryx's next move. When Valor requested volunteers for the first trial demonstration, few stepped forward. The simulation could be lethal if misjudged, and no one wanted to risk failure on day one. Seryx folded his arms and looked down at Aria. "The human volunteers," he declared. A murmur swept through the room. "She'll die. Is the captain serious? Why waste a spot with that creature?" Aria spoke evenly. "I didn't volunteer." "You did now," Seryx replied, tone dripping superiority. "Unless you're afraid." Fear. The word every alien associated with humans, because none of them understood Earth, where danger shaped children before they learned to speak. Aria didn't bother arguing. Refusal would only prove his point in their eyes. "I'll do it," she said. Seryx blinked, surprised she accepted without flinching. Instructor Valor's eyes narrowed in warning, but she allowed the demonstration. "Very well. Simulation arena, now." Which brought Aria back to the present, the moment the holographic jungle solidified around her. Crimson vines coiled. Tall trees rose, draped in thick moss. The distant growl of a predator vibrated through the floor. The alien cadets leaned forward, expecting a nervous reaction. Aria steadied her breathing. Earth's forests were darker, hungrier, and filled with creatures that stalked by silence, not sound. Compared to that, this simulation felt almost organized. She stepped forward, boots sinking slightly into digital soil. A shadow flashed between the trees. A heavy-bodied hunter, six-legged, armored, with jaws built to crunch bone, lunged from the canopy. The cadets shouted warnings. Aria didn't move until the very last instant. She sidestepped the strike, letting momentum carry the creature past her. Her hand brushed its flank, reading its trajectory, judging the delay before its second attack. The creature whirled. Aria crouched, slid beneath it, caught a loose branch, and vaulted upward in a fluid motion. Her balance was flawless despite the shifting terrain. The predator snapped at her heels, jaws clashing shut with a booming crack. She didn't attack. She maneuvered. Is she playing with it? A cadet gasped. She's not panicking, another muttered. Why isn't she panicking? The creature leaped again. Aria rolled aside and left it colliding with a vine-covered tree. The hologram flickered from the impact. She climbed swiftly, using the higher vantage to track its movements. Seryx's claws tightened around the rail. Fight it, human. Show your nature. Show your rage. But Aria didn't rage. She adapted. Once the predator launched upward, she swung down, using its own momentum to reposition herself behind it. She tapped its hind leg lightly. The simulation read it as a stability disruption. The beast toppled, crashing into the undergrowth. The trial paused. The arena dissolved. And Aria stood exactly where she had begun, unharmed, unsweating, unbothered. Cadets stared in stunned disbelief. Her efficiency challenged their assumptions more than aggression ever could. Instructor Vaylor exhaled slowly. Cadet Holt completed the scenario in 32 seconds. That is, unexpected. Seryx descended from the observation deck, face tight with irritation. She exploited flaws in the simulation. Aria shook her head. I read its pattern. Deathworld reflexes, someone whispered. No, another corrected, that was control. Seryx stepped closer until he loomed over her again. His expression, once smug, now carried something unstable beneath the surface. You think this makes you special? He asked quietly. No, Aria answered. It only shows that I belong here. Her calm confidence cracked something deep inside him. For the first time, Seryx didn't have a ready insult. And the Academy realized the mistake in assuming silence meant weakness. The Academy halls buzzed like a charged conduit after Aria's trial. Conversations flickered in every corner, hushed, sharp, startled. Wherever she walked, whispers followed like shadows struggling to keep up. She didn't even sweat. She moved like she knew the simulation. Deathworlders cheat nature. No, nature cheats them. That's why they survive. Aria ignored all of it. She kept her pace even, her posture composed, though inside she analyzed every glance and tone. Survival on Earth had taught her the value of reading intentions early. Here, intentions were loud. She turned into the training corridor, passing alien cadets who parted instinctively. The respect wasn't admiration, it was fear disguised as caution. She didn't want fear, but she couldn't control how they interpreted restraint. At the end of the hallway, the doors to the adaptation wing opened with a hiss. Instructor Vaylor stood waiting, her elongated form framed by a grid of shifting lights. Cadet Holt, Vaylor said, your performance earlier created debate. Aria stopped at attention. Was there an issue with the demonstration, instructor? No. Vaylor studied her with a mixture of curiosity and unease. The concern arises from your efficiency. Many perceived it as calculated intimidation. Aria exhaled softly. I did what the simulation required. Nothing more. Precisely. Vaylor gestured toward the chamber behind her. which is why Captain Seryx has requested additional evaluations. Aria understood instantly. Requested was a polite word. Forced was the truth. What evaluations? Adaptation trials. 3 phases. Each more challenging than the first. Valor paused. You may decline. Aria didn't move. Declining would confirm their fears. It may also protect you. Aria shook her head. I'll proceed. Valor nodded once and stepped aside. The lights in the chamber brightened, illuminating 3 trial stations. The first simulated shifting gravitational fields. The second tested toxin resistance through atmospheric changes. The third adjusted holographic opponents based on the subject's reactions. Aria squared her shoulders. She had survived far worse environments than controlled simulations. The door sealed behind her. The first phase began with a rapid tilt of gravity. From normal weight to near weightlessness, then abruptly to double pull. Aria braced her core, adjusting her stance automatically. Muscle memory guided her. Earth's gravity had always been relentless. 2 times that was demanding but manageable. She moved across the rotating platform, keeping her steps aligned with the shifting floor segments. Her boots magnetized briefly as the gravity dipped again. Around her, hollow markers tracked her rhythm. A voice crackled over the comm. Valor's tone was analytical. Noted, Cadet Holt compensates for gravitational drift through micro-adjustments in spine and ankle alignment. Human physiology appears uniquely tolerant to variable load. Aria reached the final marker as gravity surged once more, pushing down like a heavy hand. She crouched, absorbed the pressure, and rose without shaking. Phase 1 completed. Before she could rest, the second chamber activated. The air shimmered, laced with controlled irritants mimicking alien toxic environments. It wasn't dangerous if managed carefully, but careless breathing could induce dizziness. Aria inhaled shallowly, filtering through her nose, letting her lungs adjust to the sharper tingling. The lights dimmed into amber hues. She moved carefully, navigating a maze where each turn altered the atmosphere. Her vision remained clear. Her breathing slow. Another voice, Valor again, faint surprise in her tone. Most cadets require assisted filtration in this stage. Humans appear to have adaptable respiratory responses. Aria reached the exit in less than a minute. The final phase was waiting, holographic opponents designed to adapt to her strategy, shifting styles and speeds to match her choices. 3 figures materialized, a tall Zevrax, a low-slung Kareen crawler, and a swift Valari striker. They circled with coordinated precision. Aria lifted her hands slightly, ready but not aggressive. She waited for the first move. She always waited. Reaction was faster than prediction. The Valari struck first, darting in a blur of motion. Aria stepped aside, letting it pass without direct confrontation. The second lunged low. She redirected with a controlled pivot, sending its strike into the floor grid. The simulation recalibrated, opponents adjusting their angles. She kept her movements minimal, efficient, measured, never wasteful. Every dodge forced the program to escalate. The Zevrax hologram advanced with heavy, calculated swings. Aria slid beneath one arm and used the creature's weight to unbalance it. The trio regrouped. Their patterns shifted again. Aria pressed forward with 2 rapid steps, destabilizing the Volari's pivot. The hologram flickered out. The remaining 2 converged. She pivoted between them, dropping her weight and sweeping the Kareen's legs out from under it. Only the Zevrax remained. It charged. Aria held her ground until the last possible instant, then tilted her stance, letting its momentum carry it past her. She tapped its shoulder lightly. The program interpreted it as a disabling maneuver. The final hologram dissolved. Trial complete. When the doors reopened, a cluster of cadets had gathered. Some leaned forward, anticipating weakness. Others seemed disappointed she wasn't stumbling out exhausted. Aria emerged calm and steady. A cadet whispered, "She's unnatural." Another muttered, "She didn't even hesitate." Instructor Valor followed her out. "Your scores exceed expectations." "They were fair trials," Aria said, brushing simulated dust from her sleeve. Before Valor could respond, a hard echo rang down the hall. "Seryx." He approached with measured steps, eyes fixed on Aria. His expression carried something darker than irritation now, wounded pride. "3 trials weren't enough," he said. "She manipulated them." Aria met his stare. "I followed the parameters." "You exploited them," Seryx snapped. "Your species hides behind calm expressions because it knows true power threatens everyone around it. My restraint isn't hiding. It's discipline." Her voice stayed even. "Something command training should value." Several cadets gasped. No one spoke to a Zavrax captain like that. Seryx's crest flared sharply. "Then prove it." "How?" Aria asked. "Duel me," he said. "Gravity Forge." "Tomorrow." The hall froze. The Gravity Forge was not a simple test. Its shifting gravitational fields were designed to push bodies to their limits. Zavrax cadets trained there since childhood. Humans had never attempted it. Valor stepped forward, alarm tightening her posture. "Captain, that is not authorized," Seryx finished. "It is now." His authority allowed it. No one could intervene. The entire corridor watched Aria, waiting for fear. She didn't give them any. "I accept," she said. Seryx's eyes narrowed. "Prepare well. Tomorrow ends your place here." Aria turned away, pulse steady, mind already calculating gravity cycles she had studied years before setting foot in space. From behind, she heard Seryx mutter to his followers. "She stays silent because she doesn't understand what awaits her." Aria walked on, whispering under her breath. "That's where you're wrong." And for the first time, the Academy realized the captain's confidence, not the human, was the one beginning to crack. The Gravity Forge loomed like a suspended furnace at the center of Vornix Academy. Dozens of metallic rings encircled the chamber, each spinning at its own speed. Electric blue arcs flickered between them, bathing the arena in pulsing light that felt alive. The forge could recreate anything from lunar drift to the crushing pull of neutron planets. Today, it held only 2 cadets. Aria Holt stepped inside first. The door sealed behind her with a hydraulic growl. The air was dense with metallic ozone, the kind that prickled against her skin. She rolled her shoulders, grounding herself. The chamber's hum vibrated through her bones. Seryx entered moments later, his stride sharp and confident. His violet crest rose high, signaling dominance. Cadets crowded around the observation deck above, their faces pressed close to the transparent barrier. Some looked worried. Others looked hungry for spectacle. Seryx circled her like a predator reclaiming territory. "Don't make excuses when this ends," he said. "Humans break easily under pressure." Aria kept her stance loose, natural. "Pressure doesn't break me." "Arrogance," he hissed. "A typical human flaw." "No," she corrected softly. "A typical assumption." The forge lights dimmed. A metallic chime cut through the chamber. "Gravity Cycle 1, begin." A sudden shift pulled downward, doubling the weight of their bodies. Many species struggled with even moderate gravitational strain. Seryx adapted quickly, his species bred in high-pressure environments. He planted his feet, muscles rippling. Aria adjusted her balance with precise movements, lowering her center of gravity, letting her legs bear the load. To her, the pull felt familiar. Earth's harsh terrain had trained her joints to bend, not break. Seryx lunged first. His punch came fast, sweeping to crush her guard. Aria stepped sideways, letting the force pass cleanly by. Her boots scraped, but her balance held. "You dodge everything," Seryx spat. "Fight back." "I will if I must," she replied. He attacked again, 3 heavy strikes meant to overwhelm. Aria moved with tight efficiency, avoiding each blow by margins so narrow they looked intentional rather than reactive. Cadets whispered above. She's reading him. No, she's predicting him. Under double gravity? Impossible. Seryx growled and raised his arms. Gravity cycle 2, increase. The pull surged to 2.5 G. The chamber groaned. Several cadets above gripped the rails instinctively as if they felt it themselves. Seryx's steps grew heavier. His species could endure high gravity, but not without strain. He advanced with slower but more forceful strikes. Aria breathed steadily. Her muscles tightened under the pressure, but her movements remained fluid. Earth's gravity was relentless. Humans adapted to stress by becoming more efficient. Seryx charged, intending to pin her. She pivoted, letting his momentum carry him past. He stumbled, recovering with a furious snarl. Stop running, he barked. I'm not running, Aria said calmly. I'm giving you chances to stop. Her voice disarmed him more than her movements. It wasn't mocking. It wasn't prideful. It was simply true. Seryx's crest flared. You think mercy makes you superior? No. It makes me responsible. The answer struck deeper than any blow. Seryx roared and dove forward with a sweeping kick. Aria dropped to one knee, letting the gravity help her avoid the strike, then rolled away as he slammed into the floor grid harder than intended. The chamber trembled. Gravity cycle 3, peak. The forge surged to 3G. The force crushed downward like an invisible mountain. Cadets gasped as Seryx's legs trembled. Purple fissures appeared along his chitin as his body strained to remain upright. Aria felt the weight like fire spreading through her limbs. Her breath grew heavier, each inhale demanding discipline. But her bones held. Her tendons flexed without tearing. Humans had evolved under stress. The forge was harsh, but not alien to her. Seryx staggered, but he pushed through the pain and rushed at her, desperation fueling his steps. His motions were wild now, nothing like the composed captain from before. Pride had collapsed into panic. He swung at her head, claws slicing the air. Aria ducked with a narrow bend, keeping her body aligned to avoid wasting strength. Seryx's second strike was stronger, fueled by mounting frustration. Aria caught his wrist, not to twist or break, but to redirect. The gravity helped anchor the motion. She stepped aside, guiding him forward. Under 3G, his own momentum betrayed him. He fell hard, knees slamming into the metal floor. Silence enveloped the viewing deck. But Seryx wasn't finished. He climbed back up, shaking, and with a trembling breath activated something on his gauntlet. A hidden talon snapped into place, a forbidden combat extension used only in lethal matches. Instructor Vaylor's voice crackled over the intercom. Captain Valor, disengage immediately. He ignored her. Aria exhaled slowly. The talon glowed faintly with electric current. One strike could pierce bone. Do not make me hurt you, she warned. You can't hurt me. Seryx screamed, leaping, talon aimed for her throat. Aria stepped forward, not back. She entered his strike instead of fleeing it. Under 3G, her timing had to be flawless. She intercepted his wrist with a rising forearm, deflecting the talon's trajectory. Then she twisted just enough to unbalance him again, never wrenching, never tearing. Her other hand gripped his shoulder, using his own forward momentum to bring him down. The talon struck the floor grid harmlessly. Aria guided his arm behind him, pinning him with a controlled hold that immobilized without causing injury. The gravity worked in her favor now, it locked him in place naturally. Seryx struggled, but the weight in his exhaustion pinned him. Her voice was steady, quiet. It's over. Seryx's breath rasped through clenched teeth. Why won't you finish it? Because I don't need to, she said. And because you're not my enemy. His eyes widened, not in fear, but in dawning realization. The forge lights flickered. Gravity cycle end. The pressure lifted, and air rushed back with a collective gasp. Cadets leaned over the rail, speechless. Vaylor descended rapidly, face a mask of disbelief. Aria released Seryx gently and stepped back. He rose unsteadily, pride shattered, but something else growing behind his eyes, a hollow space where arrogance once lived. Vaylor looked at Aria. "Cadet Holt, your restraint under lethal threat is unprecedented." Aria nodded once. "Thank you, instructor." Seryx stared at her, chest rising and falling unevenly. "You had every reason to strike me." "I didn't want to," Aria said. "Strength isn't about domination. It's knowing when to stop." A dozen cadets exchanged glances. A new understanding rippled through them. Aria Holt, quiet, disciplined, unassuming, had just changed their definition of power. Seryx lowered his gaze. "I misjudged you." "Then learn from it," she replied. The doors opened. Light from the corridor poured in, warm and clean compared to the forge's harsh blue glow. Aria walked through it without triumph or pride, only purpose. And for the first time since humans entered the academy, the aliens didn't see a threat. They saw a standard. The day after the Gravity Forge duel, the academy felt different. The usual sharp tension in the halls had softened into something quieter, curiosity layered with an unfamiliar form of respect. Cadets who once avoided Aria now watched her with thoughtful eyes, whispering less, observing more. Aria moved through the corridors with her usual calm. Nothing in her stride suggested triumph. She didn't crave attention, she wanted understanding. But understanding in a place built on dominance took time. The echo of footsteps behind her made her pause. Instructor Vaylor approached, hands clasped behind her back, posture tall as ever but expression softened. "Cadet Holt," Vaylor said, "the council requests a debrief regarding yesterday's event." Aria nodded. "Of course. It's not a disciplinary inquiry," Vaylor added. "They want clarity. About you. About your choices." Aria fell into step beside her. "I expected as much." Vaylor's gaze flicked toward her. "Your restraint surprised them." It surprised Seryx more. Vaylor allowed a rare smile. "Perhaps that is why they now want answers." They walked into the council chamber, a circular room with elevated seats arranged in a ring. Representatives from dozens of species filled the benches, their bioluminescent badges glowing with authority. Aria stepped to the center. Counselor Seryx, an elder with crystalline skin and shimmering eyes, leaned forward. "Cadet Holt. Yesterday you disarmed Captain Seryx Valor during a lethal escalation. You chose not to strike him. Why?" Aria lifted her chin. "Because ending a fight is better than winning one." A murmur rippled through the room. Another counselor, a Korean with ink-dark mandibles, tapped her claws. "Zevrak's culture values decisive dominance. You denied him that. Was this intentional humiliation?" "No," Aria replied. "Humiliation benefits no one. I chose the safest option for everyone." The crystalline elder studied her. "You neutralized him with a single maneuver. Minimal force. Efficient. Controlled. How?" Aria didn't claim superiority, that wasn't her nature. Earth's gravity trains our bodies differently. High stress. Harsh pressure. Movement under heavy load is natural for humans. Seryx exchanged glances with several counselors. "You turned the Gravity Forge, one of our most brutal training chambers, into an environment you controlled." "It wasn't control," Aria corrected. "It was familiarity." A hush fell. Vaylor stepped in. "Counselors, Cadet Holt displayed discipline beyond standard protocol. Without her restraint, yesterday would have ended in severe injury, or worse." Seryx nodded slowly. Then he addressed Aria again. "In that case, what do you believe we should learn from this?" Aria inhaled deeply. "Strength without discipline is chaos. Discipline without empathy is empty. Humans understand both because our world forced us to." Her voice remained steady, not dramatic, just honest. Threx leaned back, crystalline body glowing. Noted. You may go. As Aria exited the chamber, she sensed the shift. Not acceptance yet, something more careful. Consideration. Outside, she walked into a corridor where cadets waited, clearly anticipating her response. They scattered, pretending not to stare. But one figure didn't step aside. Seryx. His crest hung lower, no longer flaring in arrogance. His posture lacked the rigid superiority he once wielded like a weapon. Human, he said. Aria stopped. Captain. He struggled with the next words, jaw tightening. You could have ended me. I didn't want to, she replied. Why not? His voice cracked slightly. You had every reason. Because hurting someone who's already breaking doesn't prove anything. Seryx blinked, stunned by the blunt truth. Aria continued, I didn't enter this academy to fight my classmates. I came to learn beside them. Seryx lowered his gaze. His shoulders shifted, an expression she recognized, shame. I misjudged you, he said. Badly. Aria nodded. Then start again. The offer hung between them like a bridge. Before he could answer, the corridor filled with approaching footsteps again. A group of younger cadets approached hesitantly, clearly torn between fear and genuine curiosity. One stepped forward, a small, emerald-skinned Valari girl with wide, shimmering eyes. Cadet Holt? Can I ask something? Aria softened her expression. Of course. Is it true humans train under storms of fire? Another whispered. No, Aria replied, a small smile forming. But we do learn to survive storms made of ice, wind, and everything in between. And gravity heavier than the forge? The Valari asked. Sometimes, Aria admitted. A ripple of awe passed through the group. Seryx watched silently, his expression shifting yet again. Not pride. Not jealousy. Something closer to understanding. As the younger cadets dispersed, Valor approached the two of them. The council made their decision. Aria turned. And? They want you to mentor next cycle's adaptive training class. Aria's eyes widened. I'm still a first year. Correct, Valor said. You're also the only cadet who demonstrated complete composure under escalating threat. They consider that valuable. Seryx exhaled sharply. You're making her an instructor? Valor corrected him. A mentor. For physical and psychological adaptation training. Aria processed the weight of it. Not pride, responsibility. Seryx stepped closer, voice quieter. If you mentor them, teach them what you showed me. Strength without cruelty. Aria nodded. That's the plan. He hesitated, then extended his hand, not a dominance gesture, but respect. Aria accepted it briefly before releasing. The Academy's perspective truly had changed. Hours later, Aria found herself standing at the observation platform above the training grounds. The sun of the station's host star filtered through the dome, casting sparkling blue-white arcs across the floor. The Academy wrestled with old assumptions and new truths. Footsteps approached from behind. You're thinking too hard, Valor said. Aria smiled faintly. It's a lot to take in. You handled it well. Aria glanced down at the empty field. Does change always feel this heavy? Valor folded her hands. Yes. But only for those who carry it. Aria looked at her. Will they trust humans now? Some will, Valor admitted. Some won't. But they've seen something undeniable. You chose peace in the face of provocation. They cannot ignore that. Aria nodded slowly. Valor continued, you did more than defeat Seryx. You exposed the Academy to an idea they've never truly confronted. Strength doesn't require intimidation. Aria exhaled. I didn't come here to change anything. Yet you did, Valor replied. And that is why it matters. Below, cadets began gathering for their evening routines. Seryx stood among them, posture different, not diminished, but grounded. Aria watched a moment longer, then turned away with quiet purpose. She came to learn. But by being herself, disciplined, calm, unwavering, she had done more. She had shown an entire academy that Deathworlders were not monsters to fear. They were allies worth respecting.